Okay, welcome everyone. Today's session is on account management snaps overview. I'm Sandra Francisco. I'm one of the ecosystem engagement managers along with Liz. Alex Juniper is going to be reviewing the account management snaps along with Daniel Rocha. We will have time for Q&A as well. So if please do stick around till the end and then we will have some time for Q&A. And I will hand it over to you, Alex.
Awesome. Hi there, everyone. Thanks for joining today. It's a pleasure to be here and to talk to you today about account management snaps. I have a presentation, so I will share my screen. There we go. And then these slides are also public. So I shall drop the link to these slides in the Zoom chat. Feel free to follow along as we're presenting. There's a couple of links in the deck, which just may be easier to click from the deck than actually sort of like reading the link here. So awesome. Okay. Pleasure to be here. My name is Alex. I'm a product manager here at MetaMask. As Sandra said, I'll be joined by my colleague Daniel as well, who's a staff engineer on the team as well. And today we're going to be talking to you about a new snaps category. So if you go on the MetaMask website right now, metamask.io/snaps, you'll see we're advertising 3 different categories right now. These are live in MetaMask extension today. As you're probably aware, we have the interoperability snaps. These allow you to connect to non-Ethereum blockchains with MetaMask. We have the transaction insight snaps, allow you to stay informed with insights before you confirm transactions. And then we have the notification snaps as well, which allow you to stay in the know with Web3 notifications. Okay, this is where we are now. But Daniel and I, we're working on a new category, which we're calling account management. So this is what we're going to be talking to you about today. What these are on a really, really high level is the ability for you to bring your account experience inside MetaMask. So if you used a hardware wallet before with MetaMask, such as a Ledger, a Trezor, a Keystone, you're probably familiar with the functionality of being able to connect that hardware wallet to MetaMask and then having that account to appear in the account list. Similarly, if you ever imported an account into MetaMask before, you'll probably see a component such as this with a little bit of detail describing that account. What we're now going to start offering third-party developers is the functionality to bring whatever account experience that you can potentially think of into the MetaMask account list. So your account can appear inside MetaMask, it can interact with Dapps, it can send transactions, it can swap, etc., etc. So this is on a very, very high level, but we'll get into this in a little bit more detail as we go forward. And these are just some of the initial user experience designs that we've got. But your snap name could appear right here next to all of the other accounts a user will have in MetaMask. But what could this potentially enable? Well, first of all, if you're a regular MetaMask user, which I imagine everyone on this call is, or at least you've used it a couple of times in the past month or so, you're well aware we have this 12-word secret recovery phrase that every user has when they onboard to MetaMask. What we're starting to do with account management snaps is to reduce the reliance on that secret recovery phrase to take account management to the next level. So some of the ideas that we're already seeing in the ecosystem that people are experimenting with that we now want to bring to MetaMask through account management snaps are multi-factor authentication experiences. Of course, this is really big in Web 2. It's a bit more difficult to do in Web 3 right now. You need some more sophisticated cryptography, such as multi-party cryptography, multi-party computation. If you're familiar with that, we're starting to offer that ability inside MetaMask through these snaps. And also smart accounts, smart contract accounts. This is a big area of innovation right now, especially around this umbrella term called account abstraction, specifically a new standard called ERC 4337. This is also going to be available through these APIs very soon, and we've got a whole section on that coming up. But of course, MetaMask does integrate with a number of different hardware wallets, which allow you to keep your private key offline, making it a lot more difficult for, of course, a hacker to steal. We, at the moment, only integrate with, say, 4 different kinds of hardware wallets. We constantly get requests to integrate more and more different types of hardware wallets. Even if these companies come to us with a fully fledged pull request that's sent to our GitHub repository, it's just way too much time for us to review all that code, maintain that code, and then actually get it out to our users. But what account management snaps will allow us to do is engage the community. Any developer can come to us and then extend the MetaMask functionality into the area of hardware wallets or any other area of account management. But ultimately, that's a lot of jargon there potentially. And we're potentially all developers on this call, but ultimately what this is all going to enable and empower is a safer, more secure, easier to use MetaMask experience built by the wider community. And if you're interested in this area and you have ideas in terms of account management, we really want you to be part of this. And to sort of show you how you can be part of this, and not just to be talking to you about things that MetaMask are thinking of, just want to confirm to everyone on the call that the APIs we're talking about today are live in production. They're live in MetaMask extension. There's only one account management snap this works with right now. This is an internal developer snap, just to prove the concept of account management snaps, so you can see some of the methods available. And to go through this, I'll pass over to Daniel.
Thank you, Alex. So yeah, hi everyone. I would like to start with a quick demonstration of what is possible to accomplish with the APIs that we have today in MetaMask for account management snaps. So I'm going to show first this example snap. So as Alex said, this is a developer tool. This is not a production-ready snap. Like, the idea of this snap is just to demonstrate what's possible to accomplish with the APIs. I'm saying this because the UI on this snap is not ideal for user-facing. You can see that this is a developer tool. So here I have MetaMask installed. And as you can notice, it's not Flask, it's MetaMask stable. All those APIs are available right now inside MetaMask. Here I have one single account, which is derived from my SRP. And what I'm going to do is to go to this Dapps. And the way account management snaps work is that you can have a companion app that's going to work as a user interface for your snap. And then you're going to have your snap, who is going to, which is the part responsible for signing transactions, signing messages, and anything that is going to handle secret keys, private information, passwords. You can name it. So we are going to connect to MetaMask. So the first time this companion Dapps is going to ask MetaMask to connect, it's also going to install this map. So it's the developer's responsibility to select what permissions they are going to need. And for account management snaps, you need a couple of permissions. So one for let these snaps add new accounts inside MetaMask, and another permission here to let the snap sign transactions. So I'm going to go ahead and install this snap, and the snap is now installed. So here in MetaMask, I still have only one account, but now if I go to my list of snaps, I have a new snap here, which is the snap I just installed. So now that I have this snap connected to my MetaMask and the snap is installed, I can go ahead and start using my snap. So for example, we are going to create a new account. What this is going to do is create a new random account. So this is going to generate a random private key inside the snap and register this new account with MetaMask. And we are going to see what happens. So I just clicked on create account, and the snap now generated a new private key, a new public key, and the Ethereum account. And it notified MetaMask that it wants to create a new snap account. So the user is going to be prompted with this confirmation screen, because in the end, it's the user who is going to decide if they want to add this account or not. I'm going to continue, create. My account now is ready. And here inside the Dapps, I have some information, basic information about the account that was just created. And now if I go here to MetaMask, I have two accounts. So I have the second account, which comes from this snap here. We can see that the address matches. So this account, although it's available inside MetaMask, it's completely handled by this snap. So Any transactions, messages, anything you want to do with this account is going to go through the Snap. So the Snap has a few informations about the account. So we have an account ID because we are not using the address to identify the accounts because we have some use cases in the future that we would like to support. So for example, if the user has two different hardware wallets with the same seed phrase on both of them, although they are going to have the same address on both hardware wallets, we want them to be available inside MetaMask at the same time. So we count in the future to rely on the account IDs. Then you have the account address and the account type. So the account type, currently, we only support EOAs, but as Alex said, we are working to start supporting smart contract accounts as well. We are going to start with 437 accounts in the near future. So the Snap can also say to MetaMask what type of account it is. And then the Snap can also let MetaMask know what are the supported methods for this account. So for example, if your account doesn't support if sign, which is a good practice, you can just list the other methods and leave if sign out. So it's an option. In the end of the day, is up to the Snap developer to say what they want to support with this account. So we created the account, but we can also do some other account management stuff with the Snap. So for example, the Snap can ask MetaMask to delete one of the accounts it created. So here, for example, I click on delete. The Snap is going to notify MetaMask that it wants to remove the account it created. The user can go ahead and remove. And now the account shouldn't be visible here anymore because it was removed from MetaMask as well. So let's go ahead and create a new account to see how it integrates inside MetaMask and how it can be used by Dapps. So if we come here to an example Dapp, let me select that I'm going to use MetaMask. I'm going to connect, and I'm going to connect to the account from this Snap. I'm going to confirm. Now, just to make sure I'm connected to this account. And this is indeed the account from that we just created using this Snap. And yeah, now let's try to use this account for something. Yeah, let's try to use personal sign. When I click, here is an example Dapp, and this Dapp is asking MetaMask to sign a message. You're going to see that the flow is exactly the same for the existing accounts inside MetaMask. The difference is that when I click on sign here, instead of letting MetaMask sign this message, this request is actually going to be sent to the Snap. The Snap is going to sign it and return the signature back to MetaMask. And MetaMask is going to pass the signature back to the Dapp. So here I have the signature, I can verify it. Is the same account address as my Snap account. So this is the same flow that we have for the existing accounts inside MetaMask, but we also have a different flow that is supported for Snap management accounts, which we call the async flow. And we are going to see how it works. So we are using the synchronous flow right now, and let me toggle this, and let's try to sign a message again. What is going to happen here now is instead of automatically signing the message, like the Snap is not going to automatically sign the message and just return the signature, is going to let the user know that they may need to accomplish some extra steps to sign the transaction or the message in this case. And this is useful for flows, for example, If your Snap wants to have a second confirmation using the user's mobile phone or something like this, like you can ask the user to log into some servers to sign a confirmation in a different device. All those flows should be possible with this implementation. So I clicked on sign. I have the confirmation inside MetaMask again. The confirmations is always the same. I click on sign, but now the Snap is going to return a message saying that we need to continue the transaction in the Dapps because it requires some extra steps. So I can click here and go to site, and now I'm back to the Snaps Dapp. And what is going to happen here is, so the Dapp can ask the Snap what request it received. So I can just call list requests. And this is the request that we just asked the Snap to sign. So it wasn't signed automatically by the Snap. The Snap is waiting for a confirmation before it can sign and return the answer to the response to the Dapp. So this we have two options here. We can reject a request or we can approve it. So I'm going to go ahead and approve this request. The request was approved. So you could imagine that, for example, that this approval involves something like signing a 2FA, or it's up to you to decide, but can be anything. If I list the requests again, I see that the list is empty because this request was just approved. And if we come back here to the Dapp, we see that we have the signature here. So the signature was returned by the Snap, but only after the confirmation step. And if we click on verify, we obtain the address as in the beginning. So with those two flows, the synchronous flow and the asynchronous flow, Snap developers should be able to support different flows that they want. So as I said, it can support MPC, 2FA, can ask the user to log into some Web2 servers, or can also be used for hardware wallets in the future. And like this covers all the flows that we crossed so far. But again, if this doesn't work for you, just reach out to us. We can discuss to see how to better support your use case. We have like other methods here that are also available in the API that is exposed by MetaMask. So just as an example, let's create a new account. Click on create. This is going to create a new account. Now I have two accounts. So your Snap can handle multiple accounts, and all those informations here, they are per account. So it's up to developer. You can have different methods for different accounts. Those accounts can support different networks as well. Yeah, it's completely up to you. And then your Dapp can get this list of accounts from the Snap. So the Snap is going to handle to store the state, but this state can be communicated to the Dapp using standard methods that we have in the API. So you can list accounts. If you have the ID of an account, for example, you can get information only about this account. And this can be useful, for example, if you have a Dapp that is going to expect some information to be passed through the URL. So for example, here, you could have like the account and the account ID. This way you could get information on for this account directly. You don't have to do extra steps. You can also modify an account. So for example, I'm going to copy this account here. I'm going to update the account. I'm going to paste the object, and now I'm going to say that the only method I'm going to support is signed transaction. If I remove the other methods and call update accounts, the account should have been updated. So yeah, here we see that only signed transaction now is supported by this account. So this API is what we call the queuing API. And the documentation for this API is available on docs.metamask.io. And here you are going to have like much more detailed information about terminology, the components diagram, which is going to explain each one of the components involved in the account creation or in the signing of transactions. Is going to have the sequence diagrams with the name of the methods that are called by each one of the components, and some the description of the flows, the signing flow. As we saw, there's synchronous and asynchronous. So we went through the demonstration. Here you are going to have much more detailed information, which is going to explain each one of the methods involved. And if we go back to the presentation, 1 second.
Do you want me to share, Daniel? No, you got it.
Yeah. So yeah, this was the demonstration of what is possible to accomplish today using the queuing API, which is available on Stable, and the documentation is live as well. This is a very quick overview of how it works. So for the account registration or the account creation, the Snap is going to call MetaMask to register a new account. And this is how Metamatics is going to update its interface to display now those accounts that are handled by a certain Snap. And when the user wants to use those snaps, those accounts through a Dapp, the user uses the Dapp as usual. And for the user and for Dapp, it's like completely transparent that this account is handled by this Snap. The Dapp doesn't even know that this account is not handled directly by MetaMask, because MetaMask is going to forward the request to the Snap and get responses back before returning them to the Dapp. So the documentation is live, and if you have issues with the documentation or with any other aspect of the API, you can just open a ticket on our GitHub. And I think you, Alex, want to speak about the criteria, right, to add new snaps, and I'm going to talk a bit about 4337 just after.
Yep. Cool, yeah, I'll share screen. Nice, thanks, Daniel. So yeah, to confirm, that queuing API is live in MetaMask extension today, but of course we have an allow list for MetaMask extension. So if you were to make your snap today, it would only currently work with MetaMask Flask, which does not enforce an allow list. So you are working with a number of teams already to try and get some account management snaps live, but we just have a couple of criteria to actually get these live in MetaMask extension. So I'm sure everyone on the call can empathize with. Of course, these account management snaps are pretty complicated. They manage private keys. They can manage funds. So in contrast to the interoperability, transaction insights, and notification snaps, we do have a bit of a stricter allow list criteria for this. So I've just listed 4 very high-level ones, and we're going to aim to put some in-depth documentation on our website or on GitHub very soon. But first of all, for these to be allow listed in MetaMask extension, and this is a work in progress, but currently we're expecting these account management snaps to be self-custodial. That basically means a couple of things. One is it must be interoperable with other account management services. So a user must be able to export that private key and take it somewhere else. That's exactly how MetaMask works right now, and any other self-custodial wallet. The account management snap, or the service that's connected with that snap, can't be able to block a transaction, of course, and then of course can't send a transaction on the user's behalf without the user actually confirming that transaction. And basically, if you meet those criteria, then you shouldn't need a license in any type of jurisdiction to operate your account management snap. And in general, that's how we're defining self-custodial at this point in time. And then we are requesting security audits for these account management snaps to be allow listed. Some general rules of thumb in terms of as you're planning your account management snap, and when you then start talking to the MetaMask team about getting this into MetaMask extension, some rules of thumb are code inside the snap increases the need for an audit, especially for first versions. Public code dramatically decreases the need for an audit, especially for updates. And of course, that code that directly manages private keys or funds then needs an audit as well, especially for first versions. And basically what we mean by manages private keys or funds, we're talking about if you have your own multi-party computation cryptography, you have your own smart contract account, for example, we aren't just requesting security audits on that snap code itself, but if that cryptographic algorithm exists outside the snap, for example, we are requesting audits on that. Again, as we're rolling this out, this is just to make sure that we're protecting the MetaMask users and just doing a service to the community, essentially. But what's potentially next? Going to talk a little bit more about this now. So as I've said, we're working with a number of teams already to get account management snaps live in MetaMask extension in Q1 2024. We're not going to go through any of those demos today, not going to name those companies. Hopefully you'll all see some of the marketing around that very early next year. The rest of you will be working on some really cool experiences. I realize this presentation has been very development focused because that's our understanding of the audience on the call today. But in the new year, you'll be able to play around with some of those snaps as well. We are also working on ERC 4337 account abstraction support. Again, we're not just getting on this call, just talking about things far into the future. We have a pull request out here. And oh, it's merged. When I looked this morning, it wasn't merged. But yeah, Daniel, I don't know if you want to quickly go through this and talk anything on a high level.
Yeah, sure. So just wanted to say that we are working hard to get all those new APIs required to support for 337 accounts in the first, well, we hope first quarter next year to be available on Flask. The flow is slightly different because for 337 accounts, we have some different cases. So for example, if the snap wants to support a paymaster or not, if the account is deployed or not, the snap may need to provide an init code. So the flow is slightly different because we have to make extra calls to the snap to get all this information to be able to support all use cases. But I think the main point is that your snap is going to be able to support paymaster and data. Your snap is going to be able to also define which bundler it wants to use. So you are in full control of this account in the sense that you can choose all the criteria and all arguments that are going to be submitted to the bundler. MetaMask for now is going to still be responsible for submitting those user ops to the bundler. But again, it's up to the snap developer to decide which bundler they're going to use. So if you have your own bundler, this is going to be supported. If you have your own paymaster, this is going to be supported. You decide which init code you want to use to deploy your account. And yeah, all this is defined by the snap. The only thing that we are going to enforce for now is the entry point. We have discussed with a few bundlers, and it's safe to say, at least for now, most of the bundlers, they don't plan to support different entry points. So this is the only thing that the snaps cannot support for now in this API. If this evolves in the future, we can change this, update the API. But yeah, this is a limitation that we have today, and it was discussed like it's not an arbitrary decision. It's what we think is the best right now. But again, if there are new use cases in the future, we can revise this this limitation. And yeah, the flow after you prepare your user op is going to be very similar to the other. So you can use the asynchronous flow, the synchronous flow, you can use the exact same methods that we have already for EOA accounts. We are just going to add new methods to let the Snap configure all those fields inside the user auth.
Nice. Yeah, wasn't expecting any kind of announcement today. There are a couple more PRs, but look, Daniel merged this just before the call. Machine. There we go.
Yeah, this is just the first step.
Yeah.
This is the API. Now we need to merge all the implementations. But yeah, we are working to get there.
It's coming. It's coming. If you got any feedback on this, look, you've got the link to the PR. Please again get in touch with us if you're a ERC 4337 developer. This is our first implementation, of course, but let us know your feedback because we want to work with the community to make the best APIs possible. So yeah, that's that. And then we again have plans. We haven't started on those PRs yet for account management snaps during the onboarding. So again, reducing that reliance on the secret recovery phrase. So a user doesn't have to record those 12 words as they go into MetaMask. We have plans for that next year. Don't have any concrete timelines there, but basically highlighting this as sort of, make developers confident if you're going to make an account management snap that we're going to, try and do everything possible to get that in front of users. And of course, these account management snaps will appear in the snaps directory as well at snaps.metamask.io. Hardware wallet account management snaps. We've discussed this. We haven't started work on yet that, but there's a little bit of work to do in terms of surfacing hardware communication protocols to snaps, but that's an obvious point on the roadmap. And I spent a little bit of time talking about the allow list there, which of course MetaMask is in control of, but another project going on internally inside MetaMask is some kind of community-defined allow list to decentralize that in some way, shape, or form. And of course, this is just the account management snap side. This is the MetaMask accounts team that Daniel and I are a part of. You're probably more familiar with my colleague Christian giving these types of talks. He's leading the Snaps platform. They're doing a ton of interesting feature development around Snaps pages, SVGs, and confirmations. I believe that was covered in one of the last Snaps community calls. So do check that out, and also check out the Snaps GitHub discussions as well, where Christian's detailed out a pretty comprehensive roadmap there. So yeah, just account management snaps as a whole ecosystem around this as well. So yeah, that basically brings us to the end of this account management snap overview for builders. Here are our details. If you want to get in touch with myself or Daniel, there's a couple of more resources that I've linked out to from this deck. Again, if there's any late joiners, I will drop the link to this slide in the chat. So feel free to come to the slide and click off the Notion. We've got this team space here, and then also a contact form as well for teams to get in touch. Account management snaps are a significant investment. They are pretty complicated to do and will take at least a couple of months to actually get over the line, and then you have security audits as well. So please check out the documentation, start experimenting. But if you are really serious about investing resources and then actually submitting an account management snap to us to then allow us to be a MetaMask extension, please do get in touch with us because we'd love to hear and then work with you as you then gear up towards your exciting launch date. All right, so yeah, we can end for any questions.
Hey, Alex, this is. Go ahead, Sandra.
No, I was just going to say open for questions. Go, Miriam.
Yeah, wonderful presentation. It opened up a lot of interesting aspects about account management snaps. I do have some questions, so let me get started. The first thing is about permissions. So does the permission list of a regular snap overlap with an account management snap? For example, if I'm writing an account management snap and this is going to be doing some HTTP calls and getting some stuff from the internet, or if it's going to be storing some stuff in the state, do I still need to provide permissions in the manifest file saying I want to manage state and I want to do fetch calls?
Yeah, you should need to ask for permission for the other methods exposed by the Snaps API. The permissions for the account management, they are very specific for two different methods that we have. The first ones being the methods to let the snap notify MetaMask, and the second one to let MetaMask talk to the snap.
Okay, so the same permissions I request for a regular snap will hold good even for the account management snaps.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay, the next question I have is on
Mario, just to highlight,
yeah.
like these, if we go into MetaMask here, we've got the MetaMask simple queuing. It's in the exact same area as the other snaps. Just go in here, and the specific permissions for this, for the account management snaps, are allow requests for adding and controlling Ethereum accounts, and then add and control Ethereum accounts as well. But you can see the other permissions are right there as well.
So is it possible that a regular snap, which is not at all an account management snap, requests an Ethereum management account permission and is suddenly able to manage accounts, even though it's not an account snap?
Yeah, so the snap is able to manage only the accounts it creates. So, for example, your account cannot manage the account that is derived from the user's SRP. If you have a normal snap that is used for something else, you can request for those new permissions. You can manage accounts after the user approves those permissions, but again, you can only manage the accounts that were created by your snap.
Okay. For a regular snap, it follows an approach of zero permissions until you request for a permission. Is that different with an account management snap? Because as part of the demo, I seen that when you created the snap, it created an account. It created the account with all those permissions, and then you did an update flow where you reduced the permissions. So is the approach opposite to that of a regular snap in terms of permissions?
I think we are talking about two different things. So we have the permissions that are part of the manifest of your snap, which is, for example, to be able to create accounts, receive requests from MetaMask, have a state stored by MetaMask. So those are snap permissions, which are part of your snaps manifest. Okay. And what I showed as an example are the supported methods for one single account. So inside your snap, you can have multiple accounts, multiple EVM accounts. And for those accounts, for each one of the accounts, you can list the supported methods, sign methods that you can use with those accounts. So if your account was created with only one method, for example, just sign transaction, you can do this. You don't have to ask the user for permission. This is part of this is responsibility of the snap to choose what signing methods it's going to support. But this is different from the snap's permissions. So you have supported methods which are related to the account, which are the usual signing methods like personal sign, if sign, sign transaction, sign type data. And then you have the snaps permissions, which are the permissions that Alex just showed.
Okay, so what was happening behind the scenes is when you click the button to create an account, you can actually specify which methods you want to be supported and then create that account.
Exactly, yeah. So the notification, the event that is sent from the snap to MetaMask to notify MetaMask that a new account is available actually contains the account ID, the account address, and the list of supported methods. And the list of supported methods is chosen by the snap. So yeah, you are right. It's those methods are defined by the snap once in the moment when the account is created.
Okay. Now, if I'm writing an account snap which manages accounts on Ethereum or EVM-based chains, would the snap use the same Ethereum object that's injected, or does it do something else?
It's the exactly same. So what happens is your snap can say which networks it's going to support. But for the point of view of the Dapps, they don't need to change anything to work with your accounts. The Dapps So if you go to an exchange Dapps, for example, when you connect to MetaMask and you select the account, if you select one of the accounts that are managed by your Snap, the Dapps doesn't need to do anything special to work with those accounts. Everything is written from the Dapps. They are like other usual accounts.
Okay, the reason I'm asking that question is because today with the Ethereum object injected into Snap for a regular Snap, we cannot send transactions. But if I'm writing an account Snap and I'm working with Ethereum and I'm allowed to send transactions, how can I do it with that same Ethereum object injected because it has got reduced functionality?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I thought you were talking about the provider injected into Dapps, which is different from the provider that's available inside Snaps. Sorry. Yeah, so right now, the provider inside Snaps can only sign a personal message, if I'm not mistaken. I know that this Christian's team is working on enabling the other methods in the future, but I think we don't have like I think Christian doesn't have any TA at the moment. But yeah, if you want to use methods, if you want to call Ethereum methods from inside your Snap, you are limited. You are very limited. Right now, you can only call personal sign. If you're calling from a Dapps, then you are going to use the usual, like the normal Ethereum provider with all the methods. It depends on from where you are using the provider.
Okay, so full interaction with the network is not possible totally within an account Snap. You have some functionality inside the Snap, and then most of the others is going to be from the Dapps, like sending a transaction, etc.
Yeah, Christian, yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, the best way I can explain this is that you have to look at the actor that is initiating the action. And in a snap that you do today, right, where you just want to have a snap that can do like trigger of signature, right, and do a personal sign. The actor that's initiating the action is the snap, right? So from within a snap, you can connect to the user's Ethereum accounts and you can prompt the user to sign something. But what we're doing with account snaps, the difference with the account snaps API is that it enables a snap to generate a new account that exists in MetaMask the same way a hardware wallet account or something else exists. And the actor that will be initiating the actions is either a Dapps or MetaMask, the way users manage their accounts in MetaMask today, right? So when you connect a ledger to MetaMask, the ledger is not trying to initiate transactions or signatures. The user is interacting with Dapps, and maybe they go to Uniswap, and Uniswap will initiate a transaction or a signature, and MetaMask will handle passing that request to Ledger. In this case, MetaMask will handle passing that request to the account snap, and the account snap is just responding with whatever logic it needs to validate and complete that request. But the actor that's initiating it is either the Dapps or MetaMask. So it's a very different model from the way that snaps are able to do like initiating a signature with the Ethereum provider. It's very different from that.
So in terms of the roadmap events that I've been hearing, that one, Snaps is going to be having pages where my full GUI can be inside the Snap, and two, that the Ethereum provider injected in the Snap is going to have additional functionality. So both these things will fall into place where I can even send a transaction from an account Snap from the Snap.
Again, so I'll talk about the two things. The Snaps home pages will enable a future version of the Accounts API to use the Snaps homepage instead of having to use a dedicated Dapps, right? So right now, when you make an account management snap, you have to provide a Dapps that's like the admin interface where the user goes to do threshold signing or multi-factor authentication or whatever. In the future, it should be possible to specify the Snaps homepage as the dedicated interface for doing that instead of an external Dapps. But the second part of what you said with respect to the Ethereum provider, again, the Snap is not initiating these requests, right? So that's a different model. Like, yes, you could use the Ethereum provider in the future for a snap to initiate a transaction or any type of signature once we provide that full functionality. But that's separate from what an account management snap does, which is an account snap provides an account to MetaMask and allows MetaMask to handle all of the initiating of the transaction flow, whether it's coming from a Dapps or within the MetaMask UI itself.
Okay. Jumping out from permissions, if I have a snap which does interoperability, for example, we have a StarkNet snap today and a Bitcoin snap. So these two kind of snaps have different account mechanisms. Like StarkNet has a contract account and Bitcoin is totally different in terms of how it manages the keys and stuff. So would these then be candidates for account management snaps rather than remaining as regular snaps?
That is a really good question. It's very complicated. I think in a really long-term scenario, eventually the user experience no longer seems divergent. Like for the user, there are snaps that can manage accounts for other chains. And there are snaps that can provide Ethereum accounts to MetaMask and handle the signing logic. But in the short term, I would say that they are functionally very different. And a snap that provides like a Bitcoin account or a StarkNet account doesn't have the level of UX integration with MetaMask that an account management snap would have. The account management snap is able to provide an Ethereum account that behaves like an imported private key or a hardware wallet or anything else. A Bitcoin or a StarkNet snap is able to provide an alternative experience where it's basically a full-blown wallet. It could use a Snap's homepage to show account information and so forth, and potentially interactivity and allow a user to manage those accounts. But it doesn't behave like an Ethereum account does within MetaMask.
So if I was a developer who was going to start writing a snap today for StarkNet, would you recommend me to go down the path of an account management snap or a regular snap?
You would still do a regular snap. The account management snap wouldn't provide you the ability to like provide StarkNet functionality from your snap. Like it doesn't work that way. The accounts that you generate and manage from an account management snap have to be Ethereum accounts. And as of today, they are Ethereum EOAs. Like whether you have MPC or multi-factor authentication for the signing logic, at the end of the day, it's still an EOA. In the future, it can be a smart contract account or some sort of account abstraction combination of things, but it's still an Ethereum account on chain. It's not, or on Polygon or something like that. It is not, a StarkNet account or a Bitcoin account or anything like that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I mean, I read that somewhere earlier in the documentation that account management snap is only for EVM, but it wasn't mentioned
Right.
again in this presentation today, so it just slipped my mind.
We do
Yeah,
have,
good point.
look, it was designed to potentially be non-EVM in the future, but as Christian alluded to, that's a whole other area of complexity, which there were no timelines to talk about there.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that the API, when you check the API, you're going to notice that we don't have any assumptions about the chain or the network, or the network. It just has this notion of requests, and then we have requests defined by for Ethereum, and then in the future we may have requests defined for Bitcoin, for example. The API is thought in a way that should be able to support those different blockchains in the future. It's just, as Christian said, right now MetaMask is very EVM centric. We don't have ways yet to get information about your Bitcoin balance or I don't know, to get information about like submit transactions on different blockchains. But yeah, we do see the value of having this feature.
Okay, so Daniel, in your demo, you showed a piece where you're signing some private data, signing a message, and that code for signing, that's written within the account management snap, right?
The logic to sign, yes. Yeah. So yeah, the request comes from a Dapp. It could be like any. It could be a new swap, for example, that is asking you to sign something. But the logic to actually sign the message is inside the Snap. MetaMask is just acting like a proxy, just forward requests to your Snap and to submit the response back to the Dapp.
So is there a way for the Snap to actually piggyback off the signing functionality already available in MetaMask instead of rewriting it?
No, no. Well, you don't need to rewrite everything because the signing logic is available in a package that we use inside MetaMask. It's maintained by MetaMask. We use it inside MetaMask, but you can reuse inside your Snap. And this is actually what we are doing in the example Snap that we just saw. We are reusing the logic that is available in one of the packages we maintain.
Okay, I have a few more questions, but I'll take a break now, just letting anybody else ask.
Cheers. Let's bring Dan up. The question you had in chat, Dan?
Yeah, it looks like Christian answered it there. And like I said, it's really just kind of like a point of curiosity. So, I mean, is it derived from the same seed phrase? I'm not really super familiar with Ethereum accounts,
Yeah.
so I may be like kind of out in Wonderland
Yeah.
here.
In this case, the intention is to not derive from the seed phrase.
Exactly.
It's to provide something completely different. I don't know, Daniel, if you want to talk about what the simple keyring snap does.
Yeah, sure. So the simple keyring, it only generates random private keys, and those private keys are stored inside the Snap state. So MetaMask has a few methods to let the Snap store and recover its own state. The state is going to be encrypted using the user's seed recovery phrase, if not mistaken. But the secrets used inside the Snap are not derived from the seed recovery phrase.
Got it. So in a
But
more
it's
production scenario on the DApp, there would probably be some sort of a secret that was exposed to the user so that they could save it for recovery or something.
yeah, that's right. And
Got it.
actually, you can have both solutions. You can we do have methods to let the Snap get secrets derived from the seed recovery phrase. So this is one option. But as you said, the other option is to let the Snap handle the export and import of the secrets, which is, for example, the case for MPC snaps or MPC snaps are a good example because this is something that's not supported. Like you cannot, most of the cases, you don't derive the secrets from seed recovery phrase. They are randomly generated inside the Snap. So it's up to the Snap to decide how it's going to export and import those secrets. So the user can restore the wallet in a different device.
Makes perfect sense. That helps a lot. And yeah, the other thing that I wanted to ask about was that thing that Mario talked about is like, can this feature integrate with the interoperability snaps to provide for more native like experience for non-Ethereum chains? Understand that that's probably not as simple to implement as it is to say, but would be a wonderful experience to provide to our users.
Yeah, I think the one use case, and we may have to explore it and come back to it in the future, is like, I know there are some chains like Near with Aurora, Filecoin with the Filecoin EVM, or Cosmos also has some EVM equivalent chains where you could potentially make a snap that is both an interoperability snap and an account management snap, where it essentially like generates both a Near native account plus an Aurora account. It wouldn't be the same, again, it wouldn't be the same account that's derived from the seed recovery phrase. So it's not necessarily what a user uses today to go connect to Aurora, but maybe there's some good reason why you would associate the Near native with the Aurora or the Filecoin native with the Filecoin EVM account. So there may be potential in the future for someone to make a snap that does both of those things. I think the UX would still be pretty complicated. Like we're not really at the, like we haven't really explored how to make that, you know, a good use case for users, but we could explore that in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about a Polkadot wallet in MetaMask. to be like, and Polkadot doesn't have an EVM layer. So, but I like I said, I understand that that would not be easy to implement. But
Yeah.
that was my other question, other than how the accounts are derived. So yeah, no more questions for me. Thank you very much.
Any other questions before we wrap up?
If I can jump back in if nobody else asks questions.
We do have a question, Alex, probably for you about the auto list criteria.
Oh yeah, so we're still working through this, but basically what we're saying is in terms of code that directly manages the private keys is something that, say, like a multi-party computation cryptographic algorithm that actually generates those private keys, and or say a smart contract, or even say a hardware wallet. Is it okay if we just use private key by Derive without using Ionic, without saving internally? Yeah, I think the answer is yes to that. Yeah, it doesn't need to, as we've said before, use, say, the get entropy API to do anything with a secret recovery phrase.
Awesome. Any
Mario,
last
you got one
Mario,
question
you've got
for
a
Mario?
minute.
Yes. So in the criteria slide, I was saying that point 3 and point 4 were kind of conflicting, where it says that since it's a public code base, it reduces the need for audit. And then point 4 says if it includes managing keys, and it increases the need for audit. So those two points kind of conflict with each other.
Well, not necessarily. So, for example, let's say you've made a smartphone app, for example, that is just a companion to your Snap experience, but potentially isn't generating the private keys or storing any private keys. That would then, decrease the need for an audit there. But generally, we want as much code as possible to be public. It's up to you, whatever license you want to put this under. Have an open source license. You have it under commercial license to protect your commercial interests, for example. But again, like also there's a cost to security audits, and there's a cost every time you update your Snap when you get it out there. So just generally, we're trying to encourage as much public code as possible, but we just have a stricter criteria for anything which is directly generating or managing private keys or funds.
Okay, and one more point there you mentioned was that it's going to be community allow listed in future. So does that mean the account snaps would also come under the same project that you're working on now for Snap permissionless distribution?
Super far out. That's a super far out conversation there.
Okay.
At least, I don't know, account management snaps will probably be later in terms of the whole permissionless distribution area. Perhaps we'll have some updates in 6 to 12 months, but I can't promise anything there.
Okay, thank you. All done.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Alex and Daniel. And if you're watching this in the recording and you have questions, just put it in your Slack and Telegram channels, and Liz and I will make sure all questions get answered. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.